Santa Claus spotted during the Croatian War of Independence, 1991. Robert Wadlow, one of the tallest people in history, 1939. When he died, his height was 8 feet 11 inches, weight 438 pounds. The bent prow of HMT Olympic after it rammed and sank, German U-boat U-103, May 12, 1918. The head of the Labor Protection and Safety Service acts as a model during a firefighting training course for McGuire Hospital employees, USA, 1965. Unusual dog transport method, Paris, 1920s. Mass strike of African Americans and equality supporters, Tennessee, 1968. Korean refugees crossing a bomb-damaged bridge, 1950. President Bill Clinton misses a football pass during a game at the Hyatt Regency Hotel, USA, 1993. Germans celebrating fall of Berlin Wall, Potsdamer Platz, November 12, 1989. A sailor requests an extraordinary discharge, 1967. Ella Harper earned $200 a week as a star in a traveling freak show in the 1880s, born with a rare disease that caused her knees to bend backward. A woman uses a special bandage to fight depression, Budapest, 1937. Mary Connors, the human nucleus, flies over the Avon River in Bristol, England, 1974. The Last Kiss, 1987. The Office of a Slave Trader in Atlanta, USA, 1864. A long line at Morrisania Hospital for smallpox vaccinations, New York, 1947. Che Guevara with Bolivian soldiers before his execution, Bolivia, 1967. A gruesome photo from the Soviet Institute of Experimental Pathology and Therapy in Sukhumi, 1975. 1883, British India. Bearer of civilization displays hunting trophies. Photos like this explain why Indians still resent British colonists. The photo shows Vincenzo Peruggia, who stole the Mona Lisa on August 21, 1911. Just listen to how easily he did it. He entered the Louvre, where there was neither security nor visitors, took the painting, removed it from its frame, and walked out. A man tries to open the door to his cell in Kigali during the Rwandan genocide, 1994. In 1996, American Larry Ruttman threw a boomerang that returned and hit him in the head. Larry sued himself for damages totaling $300,000 and won the case. The Daily Life of a Theatrical Agent, 1950s. A symbolic London photo from 1938. A family heads to the pool in swimsuits and gas masks, reflecting the tense anticipation of war and chemical attacks. Lee Miller, a U.S. Army frontline photographer, takes a bath in Hitler's Munich apartment, April 30th, 1945. Just before this photo was taken, she photographed the Dachau concentration camp. Palestinian refugee camp, Jordan, 1969. The world map used by Christopher Columbus in 1492. Antibiotics were discovered by accident. Alexander Fleming left a petri dish with Staphylococcus bacteria unattended for several days. A colony of mold grew in it and started destroying the bacteria. Fleming then isolated the active substance, penicillin. Racial hatred. A hotel manager pouring muriatic acid into the pool to get black swimmers to get out of the pool. Previously unknown photo of Osama bin Laden at Oxford in 1971, about 14 years old at the time. True love lasts forever. A kiss dating back 6,000 years, discovered during construction work in Iran, 1972. Victorious British soldiers of the 137th Staffordshire Brigade of the 46th Division, resting after the Battle of St. Quentin Canal, northern France, September 29, 1918. United Arab Emirates before discovering oil reserves, Dubai, 1976. 66 years later, this soldier's granddaughter found this photo and was horrified to discover that her grandfather was a fascist who served in a detachment involved in mass killings. Execution in Turkey in the 18th century. A woman caught in a sexual act before marriage was sewn into a sack with cats and drowned. The scale of repression in the USSR knew no bounds. In 1938, 502 people were executed in one day, including 3 cleaners. 3 poor elderly women were declared enemies of the people. In the 1930s, a woman's pregnancy was determined by inserting her urine into frogs. If, after 15 hours, the frog started laying eggs, it meant the woman was pregnant. A doctor assists excited fans of the Beatles during their concert. USA, 1964. A couple shows their newborn children to their grandparents across the Berlin Wall, 1961. 18-year-old Keshia Thomas protects a fallen man, suspected of having ties to the Ku Klux Klan, from an enraged crowd of protesters. Michigan, USA, 1996. On May 7, 1954, the U.S. officially refused the USSR entry into NATO. This decision clearly signaled the United States' hostile stance toward the Soviet Union, leading to an arms race and the intensification of the Cold War between the two powers. The arsenal discovered in Bonnie and Clyde's car after their death, 1934. In 1940, 10 teenagers aged 14 to 17 were arrested for writing to Stalin condemning the unacceptability of sending grain to Germany while Soviet people are starving. They were sentenced to 10 years in prison. Protest outside a movie theater showing the pornographic film Deep Throat, New York, 1972. Secret societies in Latin America, 1920. U.S. President Lyndon Johnson's limousine covered in paint packets during protests against the Vietnam War, 1966. Greta Buzel, a trained nurse, was a guard at Ravensbrück, and as Arbeitseinsatzführerin helped select women for the gas chamber. American women donate nylon stockings to the Army. Light, durable, and thick, they were ideal for use as powder bags for artillery. USA, 1944. A man runs with a cart full of diapers during the Los Angeles riots, 1992. This is how Japanese streets were watered 100 years ago. In ancient Greece, a gift of a rabbit from one man to another signified an intention to engage in intimate relations with the recipient. Lion bite marks were found on the skeleton of a Roman gladiator. This proves that in ancient Rome, people actually fought lions in arenas. One of the warehouses filled to the ceiling with victims' shoes. Auschwitz, Poland, 1944. Prisoners of the Dachau concentration camp greet their liberators, Germany, April 1945. During World War II, Germans built a fake airfield in occupied Holland to divert attention. All structures and equipment were made from wood and plywood. Construction was carried out in the strictest secrecy until a British bomber flew over the fake airfield and dropped a wooden bomb on it. It's unknown if the Germans appreciated British humor, but they got the hint. The construction was halted. Girls painting clock dials with radioactive paint. Most of them would later die from radiation sickness, 1922. A priest holds a service for dozens of Titanic victims before burial at sea, 1912. Great Depression. Fred Bell, once a millionaire, now selling apples after the 1929 stock market crash. Died in 1934 in a poorhouse. A pharmacy cabinet, England, 1730. A boy looks at a television for the first time through a store window, 1948. August 17, 1896, saw the first recorded pedestrian accident in the world. This marked the beginning of fatal traffic accidents. A Coca-Cola advertisement, USA, me 1984. In 1939, the British police deported Jews who had left Czechoslovakia after its occupation by Nazi Germany. Jews were denied residence in the UK due to incorrect documentation. This photograph, which you see on your screen, later became known as deportation to death. Moby the whale undergoes a dental checkup at Marineland Park, USA, 1964. Hacker Kevin Mitnick hacked the Pentagon network and Colorado Air Defense at the age of 16. After 5 years in prison, he erased his sentence data from the state registry and emptied the bank account of the judge who sentenced him. Shell casings after shelling enemy positions. Vietnam, 1967. Teeth-sharpening ritual of Indonesian tribes, 1938. Symbol of maturity and beauty. One of the lumberjacks cuts down the top of a tree while his colleagues watch from below. British Columbia, 1920. Telephone lines in New York, USA, 1903. A working woman from a textile plant confronts police during a labor dispute over the closure of the factory. Spain, 1986. Vesna Vulovic, a Serbian stewardess who survived the highest freefall without a parachute from 33,000 feet in 1972. Scientists testing a diaper-changing invention. Baby races, New Jersey, 1955. Police Sergeant Birchu stops a stolen car, USSR, 1988. Due to a pilot's mistake, supplies intended for a women's battalion were dropped. Southern Rhodesia, 1980. The military prepares to shoot an elephant that fled the zoo from starvation. Having survived World War II, he died at the hands of the very people he had brought joy to for 30 years. Armenia, 1970. Everyone has embarrassing photos from the past. Loading a 5 MB hard drive into a plane, 1956. This massive IBM unit weighed over a ton. A woman with a portrait of her son meets the last train with former German prisoners from the USSR. Germany, 1955. Engineers and architects in the pre-computer design and drafting era, 1982. A watch raised from the Titanic. It stopped at 2:28, 2 minutes after the crash. USA, photo from 1985. The rotor carousel reached 33 revolutions per minute, creating a centrifugal force of almost 3G. When people stuck to the wall of the drum due to the force, the floor was automatically removed for greater effect. USA, 1950s. The collapse of a crane on the Al-Haram Mosque in Mecca, Saudi Arabia. 107 dead, 238 wounded. The crane belonged to the bin Laden family's construction company. Viking skates, made of leather and horsebone, 10th century. Polish athlete Stanislawa Walasewicz won the 100-meter race at the 1932 Olympics, setting a world record. Only after her death in 1980, during an autopsy, was it determined by her genitalia that she was male, although she had both male and female sets of chromosomes. Students at Augustana College react to the not guilty verdict of O.J. Simpson's murder trial, October 3, 1995. A woman has her head shaved for having an affair with a German soldier, France, 1944. During World War II, the Soviet Army used pigeons to deliver incendiary shells. The birds were dropped from planes with shells attached, which triggered when they landed on enemy aircraft. Victorians loved morbid photography. Beheaded portraits with people holding their own severed heads were popular photo illusions in the 1800s. Democratically elected President Salvador Allende just seconds before his death during a military coup at the presidential palace. Chile, 1973. Children tried to shoot the actor who played Superman to test his invulnerability. Mongolian men selling hunting hawks in Beijing, c. 1900. These birds were used for falconry, not food. A failed kamikaze attack on the British heavy cruiser on July 26, 1945. The impact was made by a Japanese Army reconnaissance aircraft. The bomb fell into the water before the plane collided with the ship's hull. The pilot died in vain. Babies who lost their parents during the Vietnam War are airlifted to the USA for adoption, 1975. The mummified monarch and his daughter, who died in 1080, Mont Saint-Michel Castle, Normandy, France. Potato chips were invented by accident, or rather out of spite. In 1853, chef George Crumb sliced potatoes paper thin to mock a customer who kept complaining his fries were too thick. Woman snatches matches from a monk attempting self-immolation, Seoul, South Korea, 1963. In 1929, during the Soviet-Chinese conflict, a Soviet shell accidentally killed a prostitute in a Japanese brothel. The Japanese consulate sued the USSR for 20,500 yen, calculating the sum based on the number of clients and the income she could have brought to Japan over her lifespan. This is a bulletproof vest from 1881, used in combat and blocked 18 bullets. In the winter of 1950, the Korean War reached a brutal peak. This photo shows thousands of refugees risking their lives to cross the shattered beams of the Taedong Bridge. Whether you felt happy, annoyed, or just entertained, drop a comment and tell me why. Keep an eye out for the sequel. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. See ya.